Let's get it. The trade deadline is rapidly approaching. This is who you should be going for, depending on your situation. Quarterbacks to buy low on. Baker Mayfield. I know that Baker doesn't have Mike Evans, but Mike Evans should be healing up soon, and I like the rest of the season schedule as well as the playoffs. He's going to get Mike Evans back. What Baker's proven is he's going to sling it regardless. And then the playoffs, he's got the 5th easiest schedule. Now that's probably slightly worse because Dallas got better, but Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers? Give me the Panthers. In week 17, you play the Panthers? Yes, please. Next up, you have Kyler Murray. Top 10 schedule for the rest of the season, as well as in the playoffs. Plays the Patriots, which isn't great, but follows that up with the Panthers and the Rams. Yeah, sign me up. Also, both of these players are on a bye. You can get them fairly cheap right now. And I'm really digging his weapons. James Conner, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. every once in a while. And if you're just looking to the regular season, CJ Stroud has the easiest schedule for the rest of the regular season. Middle of the pack in the playoffs. But getting Nico Collins back should dramatically change his outlook. In the last 5 weeks, he's been quarterback 21. That is not great. So you should probably be able to buy him fairly low. And the rest of the season, he should have Nico Collins. That should make a dramatic difference. Now, in the playoffs, not the biggest fan. Plays Miami, who's pretty good against quarterbacks. Then he gets Kansas City, which isn't great. But he ends that with Baltimore. The Ravens are really bad against the quarterback position, and it should be a shootout. I don't really like that first 2 weeks. So this is more of a regular season play and then a championship week kind of thing. You can fill in for week 15 and 16. You probably can't get Jalen Hurts, but he's got the 2nd easiest schedule in the regular season, and I'm not concerned about his playoffs because he balls out. Plays Pittsburgh, the Commanders, and Dallas. He's going to run through Dallas. He just showed out against Washington, and Pittsburgh is actually a bad matchup. But Jalen Hurts is going to do his thing. He's probably too expensive to get, though, to be frank. Wide receivers to trade for, Malik Nabers. Nabers has the easiest schedule in the playoffs and the 7th easiest schedule for the rest of the regular season. In the playoffs, he gets to go against the Baltimore Ravens, who you're going to have to throw against, the Atlanta Falcons, who don't scare you, the Indianapolis Colts, who also do not scare you, and he's the clear-cut number 1. Now, the only risk with this is who is the quarterback? Regardless of who the quarterback is, they're going to be throwing it to that guy a bunch. You can probably buy him low because he's currently wide receiver 29 in the last 3 games. You may be able to get this next guy pretty cheap. Courtland Sutton. He has the top 10 schedule for the rest of the season and in the playoffs. And in the last 3 weeks, he's been wide receiver 2. Bo Nix has proven to be pretty solid. I think that you can go get Courtland Sutton for not too much and have a decent wide receiver 2 for the rest of the year. This next one is a regular season grab, but George Pickens. He has the easiest schedule for the rest of the regular season. Love to see it. And he hasn't been crazy great, so you could probably get him for a decent price. The problem is, I'm not a big fan of his playoff schedule. Philly's the 2nd hardest matchup against wide receivers. Now, you do get the best matchup against wide receivers next in the Baltimore Ravens, but then you back that up with Kansas City. If you need help getting to the playoffs, I think Pickens is your guy. If you're already expected to be in the playoffs, I think he'll be hit or miss. Lastly, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley has been the 5th best wide receiver in the last 3 weeks. He has the 4th easiest schedule for the rest of the regular season and the 2nd easiest schedule for the playoffs. Playoffs? I'm just trying to win a game. So he's actually good for the rest of the season. Definitely a good grab. Him popping off recently may make him a little more expensive, but it shouldn't be too hard to get him. Running backs to trade for, James Conner. James Conner has the easiest schedule in the playoffs. Going up against the Patriots, the Panthers, the Rams. Rams are the hardest matchups, but none of them really scare you. Now, he's middle of the pack for the rest of the regular season. A part of that is he's on bye this week, which means he should be a little cheaper. If the James Conner's team needs a win desperately this week, you might not have to pay as much as you think you will. People need wins now, not just later. People are not too happy about this running back. Breece Hall. He's been running back 26 in the last 3 weeks. He's not showing out as much as people thought he would. He has the 11th easiest schedule for the rest of the regular season, but in the playoffs, the 3rd easiest matchup. He faces Jacksonville, the Rams, and the Bills. He's going to run all over him. He's going to catch the ball. If you can get Breece Hall and not spend top dollar, I'd do it. I'm not trying to break the bank for him, but I've been getting questions about getting Breece Hall for fairly cheap. And if you don't have to spend a 1st, 2nd round pick type player to get him, he's definitely going to be a good running back on your roster for the playoffs. assuming you're heading to the playoffs. These next two I'll talk to in tandem. I see it more as a running back too. Rashad White and Bucky Irving. Love the matchup for the rest of the year. The easiest matchups for running back. And in the playoffs, the second easiest matchups for running backs. Now, this was a little skewed because Dallas has been bad for the last few weeks. So it's probably not second. It's probably somewhere around seventh. But they're going to be so integral in the offense that I think they're going to be solid. They're both going to catch the ball. And I love that the last game of the season, week 17, is against the Carolina Panthers. Give me the Panthers. That's who I want to face in the playoffs. Now, that is week 17, but I think that should be good. Now, don't overestimate these players. I see them as running back twos. But if one goes down, obviously the other one's going to take a big boost. And I don't think you're going to have to pay too much to get them because they've been running back twos recently. Ain't nobody really fighting for them. If you can get them at like flex value, yeah, that's that buy point right there. And lastly, Tyrone Tracy. If you need help in the regular season, I think he's your guy. Not so much the playoffs, but definitely the regular season. He has the third easiest matchups from weeks 11 through 14. And he's been top 10 in the last 5 weeks. If you need help getting to the dance, I think he helps you get there. I'm not too excited once he gets there, though. Ravens in week 15, Falcons in week 16, and I'm not really scared of the Colts in week 17. But that Ravens game is not going to be great. Moving on to tight ends. Tight ends to trade for. I'm going to start expensive and get a little cheaper. Trey McBride. He has the second easiest schedule in the regular season and the third easiest schedule in the playoffs. New England doesn't really scare you in week 15. I love that he faces the Carolina Panthers in week 16, Rams in week 17. But McBride has been top 5 all year. On the year, he's top 3. In the last 5 weeks, he's top 4. He's an integral part in this offense, and there's not much more you can ask for in a tight end. He is going to be tough to get, though. So if you can get him on a deal because he's on a bye, you might want to do that. You'd be surprised what people will do when they need a win and have players on bye. Next up, TJ Hawkins. You think he would ramp up being the integral part in this offense, but clearly he's going to be one of them dudes. Probably the second target. Jordan Addison's going to take a hit, but Hawkinson should be good. He has the second easiest playoff schedule. You love to see it. Lastly, Cade Otton has been hot recently. Tight end 1 in the last 5 weeks. He may be tough to get off people's rosters, but if you can get him at a reasonable price, it's going to be really good for the regular season and solid for the playoffs. He's got a middle-of-the-pack tight end schedule, but again, with these Bucs, I love facing the Carolina Panthers in week 17. That's championship week. That's when you bring the chip home. That's why I'm a big fan of the Bucs in the playoffs. Gotta love it. So, who did I get right? Who did I get wrong? Who did I miss? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and the notification bell down below. All of your likes and comments really do help. First off, like answering your questions. Second, getting that engagement up, baby. Let's go. Also, for those of you who've been following the end of my videos, the crazy time at work is about to end. Soon, I won't be working till midnight every night, and I can get y'all stuff on a more regular basis, maybe even early sometimes. But I appreciate y'all being patient with me. I know that this is last minute, but if y'all can get these deals done, I think it'll help your roster. Let me know if you have any questions on whether or not you should make certain trades. It's about that time now. Week 11 is right around the corner from the playoffs. Make sure you're doing the little things. Grab your handcuffs. Especially if your running backs have a good end of the season schedule. Because if your starter goes down, that backup gets that same schedule. Keep doing the little things. Watch the waiver wire. Check the weather for the kickers. And do a real analysis on your team and see, are you weak at running back? Are you weak at wide receiver? And make those adjustments. You got this. Hit me up if you need me. I'll talk to you soon, Bay Nation. Peace.